Hey guys, Ollie Godspeed here, and today I want to give you the ultimate guide to Warzone Pacific by explaining all the new changes in Warzone and giving you some huge tips. There has been some big changes, especially how UAVs work now. So Ghost actually has been nerfed, and I'll talk about loadout timing and restrictions, new contracts, new events that happen every single circle, field upgrade changes, equipment nerfs and buffs. So make sure you watch till the end as we compare Caldera to Verdansk, and we're going to start right now. For those of you that are new to the channel, welcome. I hope you're having a fantastic day, and let's talk Warzone. As always, if you enjoy the video, make sure you smash that like button and share it with your squad. This will help me tremendously to bring out new and better content for you guys. And I'll also be starting to stream again, except on YouTube instead of Twitch. So make sure you subscribe with notifications on to see when I go live. And let me know what you think of these changes in the comments below. First of all, I want to start off by saying that the map looks beautiful. It truly is a masterpiece, so huge shout out to the team that designed it. I always felt like Verdansk was a bit gloomy and depressing, and this one is very rich and vibrant. However, in saying that, gameplay wise, I can't see a bloody thing. I need some sort of scope to see anything and everything. Now, comparing the map to Verdansk, this map was much more open, and there's so many trees and bushes you can hide behind and in, respectively. Now, Verdansk was just riddled with buildings everywhere, and most of the engagements were actually close quarters. Whereas this one, being so open, it's essentially a sniper-dominated gameplay primarily, and there is actually a lot of verticality to this game now. I also feel like there is too much going on all the time, and feel like there is a lot of information, at least for me to process. Okay, now let's talk about what changed and what stayed the same. If you are not already aware, we are still on the Modern Warfare 2019 engine, so all the movement mechanics is still the same, all the perks are still the same. I do like how the movement mechanics is the same as opposed to the movement in Vanguard multiplayer, where it felt like slide cancelling was a little bit more annoying in a way because of the attack sprint being delayed. Now, if you play a Vanguard Royale, everything except the perks and equipment is Vanguard related, and some of the equipments are actually restricted, like the heartbeat sensors, Semtex, etc. Whereas the regular Battle Royale mode, currently only quads at the moment, has the Modern Warfare and Cold War guns, and all the Modern Warfare vehicles also available to be used. Speaking of perks, here's a little tip for you guys. You don't need to run Amped anymore as your perk 3. Amped used to be the go-to perk for two reasons. You can technically play it up faster because you put your weapons away quicker, and you could also throw your equipment like your stuns and grenades quicker as well, also known as equipment dexterity. Now for the Vanguard guns, instead of using Amped, you can actually run Battle Hardened or Combat Scout because you have many different options for weapon swap quickness. Example, the taped grip under rear grips, or Fleet as perk 1 and On Hand as perk 2. Now, with the new Vanguard weapons, they added bloom to all the guns except for the snipers. Now, when we talk about bloom, we're referring to the fact that the bullets don't go where your crosshair is aimed at, and basically like when you hip fire. Now, Raven did announce that this bloom aspect has been reduced on all the guns, and in the future they will be removing it completely. Now, if you are interested in knowing more about this, True Game Data has a good video on this, so I'll leave that in the description below. There is a new event known as bombing runs that happen at random throughout the game at any given time and appear on the map as a red circle, looks like a single cluster strike, and is announced to you if it is on you. Now, it doesn't kill you, but it does stun you, and sometimes even through buildings. Here is a bonus tip for you. Bombing runs happen wherever the teams are. Could be your team, could be the enemy team. So if you see a bombing run on the map, keep that in mind. There will be players around that area. It seems like this was added to prevent people from staying in one location and force them to move around a little. Now to the biggest change in Warzone Pacific is a nerf to Ghost. Previously in Verdansk, the only way you could see a ghosted player was if you had an advanced UAV from a supply box. Alternatively, if you purchased 3 UAVs at the buy station in Verdansk, you could see the direction the enemies were facing and their location, even across the whole map. But you could never ever see ghosted players that were within around 240 meters in your area. Now this made Ghost an OP and must-use perk. Now this all changed with the new update, and if you purchase 3 UAVs now, keep in mind that is $18,000, you can see ghosted players even right beside you. That is, there is no distance threshold anymore. It works exactly like an advanced UAV, and ghosted players don't show the direction they're facing. So in the final zone, if every player on your team had a UAV, or if you could spare $18,000 at the buy station, you could see every single player on the map, and this is a huge change, and ghosted players are not safe anymore. Another great addition is that we're finally able to mount the rocks now, and you can finally get to the zone safely. And you can also find these gas canisters that are lying around that you can start a fuse and throw at people, or even attach it to zip lines and kill people camping up top, or you can ambush vehicles with it. You can do all sorts of things. Okay, here's a list of all the public events that happen in Warzone Pacific, and I will explain it further and sprinkle some tips as well. For Circle 1 and 4, as shown previously, there can either be heavy weapon drops on the map or cash drops. See, the thing is, in this game, there's a lot of RNG to it, and you need to find the best ground loot weapons until the first free loadout drops, so you have a higher chance of staying alive. If there are heavy weapon drops, it's a good idea to go for that drop early game because it gives you at least one legendary gun. This legendary gun could also be a pistol though, so I'd be cautious landing on it straight away from the plane at the start of the game, especially if you don't have any POIs nearby. As shown earlier, cash drops can happen in Circle 1 or Circle 4, and it's a good way to get some quick cash. Some people like landing on this at the beginning of the game, even if it's in the middle of nowhere. But is it really worth it though, guys? You don't get any guns from it, and you get $12,000, but it's not like you can buy a loadout anywhere, right? But I guess you have enough to buy 2 UAVs. So, you know, in saying all this, it is quite useful after you come back from the gulag though, as it's a better way of regaining from the game and buying your squad mates instead of doing a scavenger and, you know, wasting your time. Another big change that happened is regarding loadouts and how you can't buy it until the first free loadout drops. Now the first free loadout comes in around the 1 minute 20 second mark on the timer during the second zone. So what you could do is you could hang around the buy station until that time and buy a loadout before you push for the free loadout, because the free one can get quite hot if there is multiple teams nearby, and you can just grab Ghost or whatever other perk you like running. The second loadout drop happens during the 6th circle around the 21 second mark, and this is completely different from Verdansk, where the first drop used to happen around 12 seconds before the first zone closed, and the 44 second mark on the timer during the 5th circle. Moving on to the 3rd circle in Vanguard Royale, which is firesale. Now firesale always happens during the 3rd circle at the 51 second mark and goes for just over 3 minutes. So if you come back from the gulag around the 3rd zone, what you could do is you could wait in the air above a buy, scout the area, and you could land just as it hits that 51 second mark and buy your teammates instantly. Now this is effective because you're landing as the fire sale starts and probably arrive before any of the other teams have a chance. Now, I've already covered circle number 4 and circle number 6, so we'll go over circle number 5 now. And during the 5th circle, you'll see an event called Restock that happens, which will essentially restock all the supply boxes on the map. I personally think this is a good idea so that even if you land back after being revived, you know, you can get some sort of guns with you, or potentially get some cash from the boxes to revive teammates if there is a buy nearby. Moving over to contracts now, the look and shape of the contracts have changed, and at the bottom of it, it will tell you what reward you get, if any, once you complete it. Also, there has been an addition of some new contracts. Some of these include the Big Game Bounty. Now, this is probably the best contract for aggressive players because it does reward you with an advanced UAV once you complete the contract within 3 minutes. Now, if it is poached, then you won't receive the reward, and the advanced UAV is activated automatically and instantly, so you have no control over when the advanced UAV gets deployed. Another thing I've noticed is that these contracts only appear on the map once the second zone closes. Top Secret contract is another one that has been added, and this one provides you with a random contract, and it can vary from bounty, recon, scavenger, and even most wanted. It's a bit of a gamble, so be cautious if you're the last one standing in your squad. Furthermore, this one rewards you with the UAV if you complete it, and just like the Big Game Bounty, you have no control over when it gets deployed, and as soon as you finish the contract, it is automatically activated and the UAV animation takes place. So keep that in mind if you're in the middle of a fight. Now, I must say the most recent update has removed this contract because people are using it to level up their weapons significantly faster than how they could in Vanguard multiplayer. The supply drop contracts, as it says, gives you a supply drop filled with cash and kill streaks like UAVs, cluster strikes, and precision airstrikes, and it occasionally gives you dead silence too. It's actually a pretty good contract to do, but the only downside is, from what I've seen, it usually drops near enemy locations and can sometimes drop like 500 to 600 meters away from you. Furthermore, you have the exact coordinates to this supply drop. However, nearby enemies will get alerted to it and can see the green smoke and potentially try and steal it off you or bait it. Now, the way that the kill streaks look have also changed. It's more of a backpack now with the logo of the kill streak on the back, to distinguish it visually from afar. The first time I picked it up, I didn't even realize it was a kill streak, to be honest. I thought it was a satchel. And speaking of the satchel, the color was changed to green to complement the map. And the airstrike also sounds different. And I'm glad they tuned the volume down because it was extremely loud. Speaking of airstrikes, the cluster strikes have also changed and are essentially called in like airstrikes with binoculars, and they give your position away just like airstrikes do when you call it in. In terms of the gulag, it is significantly smaller than previous gulags, and it's much easier to give callouts to your teammates now because you can run around the entire gulag. The same issue with previous gulags exists though, where we can hear the footsteps of the spectators and also get stun hit markers on players that are spectating. Now, if you do win your gulag though, you return with your gulag weapons. I think this is a fantastic addition, and I loved how they transferred this over from Iron Trials. Now, if you do want to see a gulag tutorial, let me know in the comments down below. Now, the overall look and theme of the buy station has also changed. Personally, I think it's worse now because I can't really tell what I'm buying half the time. It's just too dark and the item selected is not that clearly highlighted. I don't know if everyone else feels this way or it's just me. Let me know what you think. As you may have already noticed as well, UAVs now cost $6,000 instead of $4,000. And furthermore, to add to this, for keyboard and mouse players, you used to be able to smoothly navigate the buy station with your W and S keys instead of your mouse. But it looks like when you hold down the W or S key, there is a bit of delay, and it's not as smooth as before in Verdansk. So you are reliant on your mouse to move the cursor for you, so keep that in mind. Over the next two slides, I'm going to be showing you the equipment buffs and nerfs, which are pretty self-explanatory, so if you want to read into it, make sure you pause both slides. I personally love these changes, especially the fact the heartbeat sensors are finally nerfed. Everyone was just running around with the heartbeat sensor and it was a bit too overused essentially. And it's good to see the frag grenades also get some love. It reminds me of the good old blackout days. Now, in addition to all these great nerfs and buffs, the gas mask animation has also been changed and will only happen once you finish your armoring animation, reloading, or your grenade animations. And there is no more stopping power, and dead silence is also nerfed in the sense that it only refreshes after the first kill, and it's meant to be rarer now. Okay, now let's briefly talk planes. I was a bit skeptical when they added planes because of how similar it might feel to Battlefield. To be honest, initially it was a bit OP because you could pretty much aimbot people in the air that are either coming from the gulag or trying to land because you could auto-target parachuting players. I've personally never ever died to a plane before, but it could be because I run cold-blooded. But I did get on the plane once and instantly got shot down with an AA gun. Speaking of AA guns, they're scattered across the map and there is a vehicle with an AA gun attached. So a good strategy would be to actively try to obtain an AA gun attached vehicle every single game so you can shoot down the planes as you go. From my own personal experience, the planes don't bother me too much, but it's still quite loud. And finally, in terms of the guns, they're all quite disappointing overall compared to Modern Warfare and Cold War guns. I do feel like this is a sniper-dominated game now, so if I were you, I'd level up the snipers first. And in terms of the ARs, the Cooper Carbine seems pretty viable, as well as the No Recoil Automaton. The MOG, or also known as the Combat Shotgun, was actually really good when the game first released, but I feel like they did a silent nerf to it, and it's not as good as it used to be. And as you know, there are a lot of guns to test with different builds, so I'll be making future gun videos that are viable in Vanguard, so keep an eye out for those. That's it for this guide on Warzone Pacific. I certainly hope you learned something new, and if you did, make sure you like the video and subscribe to see more content. And let me know what you think of all these changes in the comments below, and I hope you all have a good day, and I'll see you very soon.